friend of mine, Grant Pritchard. He's a wonderful blues player, as I'm sure you've just heard. So welcome to Grant.
Thank you very much for having me, Tim.
So this is a bit of a Grant and Tim chat. We thought GT, Grant and Tim, it seems fairly logical.
Why not?
So there we go. So we're just mucking about over this blues track, a sort of funky blues in a sort of A major blues. And we're just going to talk about what we've done and how we've approached it and how we've approached it maybe differently. So over this, so let's start off with this first chord.
Yeah.
What might you be thinking across that first chord?
Yeah, so I'm always thinking of major and minor pentatonic.
Right.
And pretty much anything else that I do that isn't that, I'm thinking of almost superimposing it over the top. So that's
how do you mean by superimposing?
So I think mostly in major and minor pentatonic because that was the platform that I built everything off.
Okay, then let's go with that. So over this A7, where would be your default minor pentatonic position? Like, well, we know what you're going to say here, but let's just go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So obviously you've got your minor pentatonic blues box.
Okay, and then what about major?
Exactly the same. I'm exactly the same thing over there.
So you're just thinking position 2, basically.
Yeah.
So position 1, minor, position 2, major, but from the same starting point.
Because,
okay,
I mean, that's where all my chords are sitting.
What chords are you seeing there?
Yeah, 6s and 9 chords.
So
6s, 9s and 7s. That's got that kind of lovely... I think of all those kind of old great kind of blues guitar sounds, whether it's beat things.
Okay, so you're seeing that 6 chord there.
Yeah.
You're seeing that?
Yeah. And sometimes I like to add that 13 in as well. That's always nice.
All right, and so what might be a typical opening line for Grant Pritchard over this? So if I count in, and you play a typical opening line, right?
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's just go with that. So what's that again? Right. So when you're playing that, I know what I'm thinking, but what are you thinking?
What am I thinking?
Yeah, because I think you're thinking BB King.
I'm thinking BB King.
Because that sounds like BB King to me.
Yeah. I'm thinking BB King. I'm also. I'm thinking of, do you know why I like that intro? I like that intro because it straight away, I've all of a sudden arrived in another area of the fretboard. So I can skate back. So
you're going up to that major third there. So where are you going from there?
I'm playing with
that groove.
But then, you're absolutely right. I started to play with that major third.
But also the other thing you're playing that note and that note. It's the same note, isn't it? In a different place. And BB did that a lot, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which just gives a different texture to it, which is really nice. Yeah, and then you are here. So, okay, when you're here, what are you seeing when you're here?
I'm just seeing Albert.
Ah, okay, yeah.
But also...
Yes, okay, that's a good answer.
I'm seeing a way that takes me sonically to a different bit of territory. So
you're now seeing position 2 of A minor pentatonic. Okay. And Albert, absolutely. But if you're now going to major here, what you're seeing in a major way?
In a major way, in this position here, again.
Are you seeing position 3? Because I'm kind of seeing that, but I'm kind of seeing other stuff as well. Or maybe you don't think majorish there. I don't know.
Do you know what? I'm going to open up a can of worms here. Are you happy for me to do it?
Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So
I like cans of worms. It's one of my favourite sayings in lessons.
So everything that I do, I try and develop a bit of vocabulary from people that I listen to, whether it's BB, whether it's Albert, whether it's Matt Schofield, absolutely, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Ronnie Earl, Anson Thunderberg.
Ronnie Earl, yeah.
So these are all favourite guitar players of mine. And I'm getting this kind of influence from their playing and the kind of language that they use.
Yeah.
Now, what happens is, from all that language, you have to kind of think of it and dissect it exactly as we're doing, and breaking it down into little things, and finding the theory between it, how it interacts with the chords, absolutely. But when it comes to playing, once that language has been developed, it's kind of absorbed into the back of your head in the same way that we're having a conversation right now. It's free flowing. I'm not thinking what I'm going to say.
Yeah, sure.
And when you reply, you're
totally
not thinking
agree.
what you're going to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we've absorbed ourselves with the language enough that we've got those kind of responses.
100% agree. 100%.
Once we've got that framework, we're then replying of having that knowledge of sounds. Having that. So when that chord change happens, you are then thinking of that natural reply within the language.
Yeah, 100% agree.
That's the
but that's the end point, isn't it?
End point.
That's the end point.
So,
but then you got to think there's guys out there that are not at that end point, and they're thinking, how do I get to that end point?
Too right.
So they're thinking, how did Grant get there? How did he manage to come up with those really cool lines he played? Where did that all come from? You know. And so when you're here, so to go back to the original question, when you're here and you're thinking Albert here, or which is my favourite Albert lick. You see, what I was going to say was when we're up here in Albert territory, but I'm going major, I'm seeing that root and that major third there. And then I'm seeing this little A chord here, which is a D-shaped A chord. And then I'm seeing like an arpeggio thing going on.
Absolutely,
And then this A7 arpeggio here as well, all kind of stacked over the top of it. Then when you move up here, I'm seeing that, and so I'm seeing this A chord. I'm seeing that major third there. Oh, this is obviously all over the A, flat 7, root. The third thing, massive. Don't you find though that you go to thirds too much? That's what I find.
Yes and no.
I sit on too much, I think.
I think there's something nice about landing on the chord, and it's the notes that you choose to weave up to that, because
yes, I get that.
I think it helps create things that are very listenable.
Okay, and that's let's explore that. And so let's say we're going from the 1 chord to the 4 chord. I would typically play this. That might be a line I typically play. I'm just walking. And that will pull us into some of those diminished lines we play as well. But I will just see that major third, and I'll walk into that a lot from the that sort of stuff. You'll do that,
and again you were linking it. Were you doing what was that? That was it. And you're doing something similar to I think what I was getting to earlier, which is there's a little bit of major and minor pentatonic going on over there. Is that what you were thinking?
No, I tell you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking walk to the major third, and I'm seeing that as the 5. Okay. I'm seeing that there, and I'm seeing that as the flat 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm seeing that totally as major.
Okay,
And then I might go back to which is what you did earlier. And then I'm seeing that major third there. And that's all thirds, isn't it?
Yeah.
How would you do that?
Follow
the thirds. Let's say we're just going straight from A to D, back to A, E, D, A. How would you kind of link all those? If you did that all in thirds, you want to land on the third of every chord.
Oh, yeah. Well, I love doing this because this takes me into kind of like what I'd call like jump blues.
Right, okay. Right.
So, just going to make sure my volume's not going to be too much. So,
yeah.
So I'm hitting that F sharp.
Yeah.
And then.
Yes. See, that's something else you've done that I do all the time is over the E, you're kind of doing this, and over the D.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, whatever I do over the E, I'll do the same over the D, the tone down. What about switching? What you were playing sixths a bit at times.
Mhm.
How would you do those?
So
When I'm doing
Oh
that
yeah,
sort of
yeah, yeah.
stuff.
Okay, yeah. So yeah.
So like, so you're doing it like, yeah, that was nice. What was that again?
So I'm on my
you
D
go.
and I'm on my B.
Now I see. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I mean it's just a slight twist on something. Slight twist on that.
It's that. Yeah, it's the ninth chord thing.
Yeah, it's lovely. And then I suppose you go.
Yeah.
Then yeah, I think there's something special about six chords.
Yeah.
And doing that six.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I might do.
Yeah.
Just playing around with all that.
You almost get into that kind of. Where we go.
The chicken picking thing. Yes, it's snappy.
Yeah.
It's just got that twat. It's like hit the compressor pedal.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that's one of the nice things about this style of music, isn't it? You can incorporate so many different styles.
Oh yeah, exactly, 100%. And that's, to me, that's what keeps me in the blues all the time.
I think
because there's so much stuff you can do with it.
Buddy Guy once said in an interview, hopefully I'm not paraphrasing him too much and getting it wrong, but it was something along the lines of blues music. He compared it to like a gumbo. Where it's got all these different flavours and different things going in. And I thought that's just
wonderful,
analogy.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you start off with the minor pentatonic, and then you kind of get fed up with that.
Yeah.
And then you think about major, and then there's this mystery of mixing major and minor that you kind of like think, what the hell's going on there for years?
Yeah.
And then you start to dissect that and start to realise how that works. Mm-hmm. And then you go down that big rabbit hole, which is loads of fun and keeps you going for years. And then you start playing around with diminished lines and maybe altered lines and augmented lines and that sort of thing.
That kind of brings you into the next part,
jazz.
The jazz bit, and implying changes that are there, and also Josh Smith talks about this a lot. I know we're both huge Josh Smith fans, and Josh Smith talks about not playing the changes.
Playing through
the changes. Obviously you are playing the changes, but playing through the changes, which is a really good point.
Which goes back to us doing that's playing the change, playing through the changes, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So, and a lot of the time for me when I'm doing that, it's like, where's that third? Let's walk up to it. Yeah. You know, and that's, to me, that it's most of the time I'm doing that. Mm-hmm. I'm either walking to the third or the root.
There's that 4.
Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah. I do that a ton. But to me, walking to the third or the root sounds best. I don't like walking to the flat 7. I'll tell you what I do with the flat 7. You'll probably know this, but I kind of thought about this by accident. Really, is let's say we're over this A7 chord. Yeah,
I'll play it.
Okay. Now, when I'm playing the flat 7 of the A, I was playing it one day and I'm thinking, that wants to go to the D. And I'm thinking, why? Why does it want to go to the D?
Yeah, because I know why. I think I know why.
That note is a semitone above the major third in the D.
Oh, okay.
So it's resolving back to that D there. The major third of the D. But as soon as you go, it wants to pull, doesn't it?
It pulls that.
Yeah, it pulls. And as I was playing it, I was thinking, why is it doing that? And I couldn't figure it out for a while. And then I thought, it's simple. It's fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, when you're playing the flat 7 over the A7 chord, if you're not careful, it sounds like it wants to go to the D chord.
Yeah.
So therefore, a great place to put that note in is right at the end of those last 4 bars, because it pulls it in naturally. But if you sat quite heavily on that note in the first 2 bars, it would sound a bit odd because it sounds like it wants to go to the D.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's okay to play it, obviously the flat 7, but not to sit on it too much.
Yeah, I think.
In my opinion.
Yeah, and I think the nice thing is say if you did, there's always it kind of gets you into, and now we're moving into this next.
Yeah.
Where there is that tension, the release is always usually just a semitone away.
We like the release. Right, okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, us waffling on for an extended period of time about this and that. Well, we certainly enjoyed ourselves, and we're hoping to do this like once a month maybe.
Hey, that's good with me.
Like the GT Chew the Fat thing once a month. So,
yeah, thank you for having me, Tim. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody who's been watching and listening, and happy guitar playing, everyone.
Yeah, and we didn't mention like Grant's SVL Strat. I mean, that's a beast of a thing as well.
I love this. Yeah. So
it is a gorgeous
Simon at SVL made this to kind of specifications that I asked, and he's just an absolutely fantastic.
And I just got a boring custom shop Strat.
Hey, it's lovely, that is.
There you go. All right, guys, catch you next time.